Have you seen this fella before? It's the SP16 sensor. It contains the same technology as we had in the SP15 sensor that we have used in many machine applications. Now we have rebundled it in a smaller package, and those of you who are familiar with it, you've seen it on the Dozers already in some of the applications there. It can be used both as an SP sensor, an ordinary cross-slope sensor, but it can also be part of the sensor chain technology. It's only about how you configure it in the software in the CB14 or whatever platform you're using. But it has to be aligned in the machine orientation. So if my arm is the direction of the machine, it has to be in the direction of the machine when it's being calibrated. You also define what direction the connector is pointing at. So that's the definition of the sensor. But after it's been configured and installed, it will measure angles in several dimensions. From MC173, we are going to use this sensor also on the graders, because this sensor will now replace the blade sensor, and it can also replace the mast sensor at the same time in the same single unit. Where we install it on the machine is on the blade down here, and as you can see, so it's on the moving part of the blade that is both rolling back and forth but also tilting sideways. The orientation of this sensor is the label here is facing to the right and the connector is pointing up. So that's the two settings that need to be defined in the 2D setup of this machine for the calibration. Cable is routed in the same way as the ordinary blade sensor would have been. And you can also see that the bracket here is also a standard bracket. So the same sensor can be used with the same brackets that we have already. So there's no difference in the installation. Just make sure that the sensor is aligned in the direction of the machine and either, let's say, vertical or sideways. Not half in between, let's say in 45 degrees, because that won't work. In MC1, you go into the sensor profiles and to the settings advanced. And then you go and you should make sure that your tech mode is enabled, and then you find the sensor config menu. And here you are using the SP config, where you enable the SP technology and cross-tech. Mounted on left, no, because it was mounted on the right here on this machine. We are enabling the DMC, and then we need to define also the location of the sensor in relation to the rotation, center of rotation of the blade. But all of this and all the continued calibration is described in the installation reference manual for the graders.